Hello there and welcome to Ancient Theories channel. Here is my geode from the last video. I saw it with my diamond discs, and today I am going to apply heat to it and show you what happens, and don't do this at home. I am using my butane torch, and you can see my geode, quartz geode, on a clay tablet here. And you may hear some cracks going on, and these little pieces of quartz is flying off. So yeah, it's sharp and it just pops like a popcorn, and it can hurt you. So yeah, don't do this at home. And as you may see, some of this crystal is glowing, and that means it's going to get temperature something around a melting point, but still not melting. It's still not melting point for this crystal. And this applying heat method is actually available even if I am not going to use butane torch. You can apply heat to any crystal and get this effect even in lower temperatures due to expanding and cooling of this crystal. At the moment there is -1 Celsius in the air, and the butane torch is hitting the crystal, which means the crystal is expanding. But when the glow of the crystal is going away, that means the crystal is cooling down to, I don't know, 300 Celsius, but it's still cooling to this temperature really fast, because there is -1 in the air. And this glowing crystal is around 1100 Celsius above zero. So this quick cooling process reappearing, and you can see this glow, and this glow goes away, and again, means this crystal is rapidly heating and cooling, and heating and cooling again. And that's why the cracks happens, because cooling and heating in small periods of time means the crystal is expanding and rapidly cooling while shrinking. And the crystals in this crystal are doing the same, but they are trying to stay in the crystal state, which means some particles are going away and some other particles are going somewhere else to form crystal forms. But in this rapid cooling and heating process, the crystals are forming new forms, smaller clusters. And this smaller cluster can fly away due to heat expansion and can stress other crystals around them. And this stress gives acceleration to some particles, and those particles can move away like, as you see, popcorn grains. And now I will show you these processed heat treatment crystals under the loop, and the same crystal, but before heating treatment. As you can see, there's clear differences. There are cracks, there are also some fractures, there is this different appearance to this crystal because the light is diffracted differently after the heating process. As you can see, the crystal clusters are smaller after the heating process, and these clusters are appearing more white than clear because there is more fractures inside the crystal, So not only the heat appears to affect outer layer, but also the heat affects inner layer. And in this inner layer, there's also new fractures. And these new fractures, the new fractures weakens the inner structure of this crystal, which means it is still the same hard crystal, but these fractures means I can easily break it. It's easy to break this crystal because there's inner fractures. That's it. And the same goes with any other crystal. I can just hit it and cool it really quickly and then fracture it like it's just, I don't know, anything soft, like clay. But don't get me wrong. The crystal itself, it's still hard. It's still 7 points on the Morse scale. And if you don't know about Morse scale, you can learn more about this in my last video. So I get hard crystal, but I can fracture it, crack it like it's clay. I can gather it powder, but these grains of crystals are still hard as it was before. As you may know, I have a little bit trouble to saw through it with my diamond saw. And now I am just going to fracture it without any saw, with my bare hands. Okay? But before that, let's see these crystal clusters from my geode, which break through, and I gather them, place them here. You can see those clusters are different, more whitish. They have a lot of inner cracks, but some pieces are still in good shape because some crystals were cracked in lower parts while being still a full monocrystal. And you can see this here. We have some, I don't know, grains of glass lying around, and they are like glued together, but other are just like monocrystals, which are standalone. And that's because, yeah, those fractures in inner layer. And now let's break this geode, this quartz crystal, with my bare hands. As you can see, this is this heat-treated crystal, and I am just breaking it with my fingers, like it's clay. And this applies to any crystals, to corundum crystals, sapphire, ruby. I don't know about diamonds, but yeah, I think it's similar, but for different temperatures. And here is a second half of the same geode. I didn't hit it. It's cool, it's hard, there is no inner fractures. And I cannot break this. See here. It's cracking. But why the struggle? The granite stones are different than clear crystals. They have some quartz microcrystals, but even fractures in those microcrystals won't get me there. I cannot just cut through this heat and cool and heat and cool. I cannot make them smooth. I can only crack through some bigger clusters of crystals in quartz, in granite. But you don't see them very often. So what is it for? If I would like to produce any powder, crystal powder, like quartz powder, or corundum powder, or diamond powder, I can use this heat treatment to achieve this without any really hard tools. I don't need iron, I don't need steel, and especially I don't need tungsten carbide to create some quartz powder or corundum powder. You can see I just I just can break quartz geode with my bare hands after this heat treatment. Same goes with any other monocrystals. I can produce any powder of crystal. And I know there are corundum crystals, which are very hard, and if I could get corundum powder, I can use it to grind other softer, like granite, stones. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's cut it there, and let's talk about this cutting another time. Till we meet again.